Good morning, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday. Welcome to Monday Morning Jumpstart. This is Karen Hilton, Chief Vision Caster for the Rock Your Vision community and founder of TAP Executive Coaching. If you are joining us this morning, I just want to say, wakey, wakey, it's time to get up. It's a brand new week. It's Thanksgiving week. If you're watching this from the United States, then yeah, you guys are thinking about probably what to eat in a few days. And if you're anything like me, you're already getting started. We have an amazing show for you this morning, and we are going to be talking about gratitude, strength, and caring. And this is probably one of my favorite shows all year, not only because of the topic, but because of the person we're going to be talking to. Her name is Kim Dudash. She is an executive coach. She is a business leader. She is a well-respected business leader, and I am so excited for you to get a chance to meet her. She does some other stuff, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. So, good morning, Coach Kim.
Good morning. Happy Monday. And it is a great week, right? We're starting our week of Thanksgiving, like you said, here in the United States. So, one of my favorite times of the year where we can just take stock and remember all the things that we have to be thankful for. So I appreciate you allowing me to join you this morning. I'm really excited about it.
Thanks, Kim. I appreciate you so much. For those of you that don't know, Kim and I met years ago. I guess now it's 7 years ago or so. And she was actually one of my clients. Yeah. And I remember when I met Kim, I don't remember if you were picking me up or we were riding somewhere, but I remember just looking over at you and I was like, there's something different about her. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I knew there was something a little bit different. And guess what? I was right. She's amazing. And I just wanted to kick off this week a little bit different. So we've got some great topics to talk about. But I just want to say, hey, if you're here for the first time, welcome. Monday Morning Jumpstart is this amazing kind of live stream show, if you will, where we bring some of the most amazing leaders together to do three important things: to get focused, to connect to your purpose, and to develop perspective to be able to do life on your own terms. Whether you're a professional or an entrepreneur, this is a space that you can walk away with some serious power plays that you are going to be able to use today and into the days and weeks and months to come. So come on in, get comfortable, and do the most important thing out of all of the other things: get your coffee. Y'all know your tea, your coffee, whatever your morning flavor is, you got to have something. There you go, Kim. You got to have something to just jumpstart your week. And so this morning, I'm doing a little bit of coffee with peppermint. Now, I'm going to warn you, okay? This is a public service announcement for our community. Hey, Coach Lawrence Henderson, he's in the stream this morning. Good morning. I'm going to warn you, it's about to be December. Now, for anybody that knows me, y'all know that I am a Christmas fanatic. Okay, I'm just going to put it out there. I already have my trees up. And yes, I said trees. I have a tree in almost every room. The only two people in my house who don't have a tree are my husband and the dog. Everybody else has a tree. Every other room has a tree. I'm one of those. I don't apologize for that. So I'm going to be kicking it hard in Christmas attire in December. So prepare yourself for that. Anyway, Coach Kim, do you have your trees up yet?
I do not have my tree up, Karen. I'm one of those people that I want to have as much autumn as I can possibly have.
I hear you.
But I do live in East Tennessee. and it's gorgeous here in the fall. So we're trying to suck up as much of the autumn as we possibly can. But after Thursday, we're going to kick it into high gear for Christmas, because that's another favorite. And I love all of the decor and the trees. So I'm not one of those hardcore, not going to do it till Thanksgiving, but we do like to enjoy as much of the fall and the autumn as we possibly can. So we haven't done that yet.
That's
we're not
okay.
there.
I'll let you slide because I like you a whole lot. But anyway,
you'll let this one go.
I'll let it go. But anyway, I'm going to be seriously tricked out for Christmas for throughout December. So anyway, I just wanted to just warn y'all a little bit. Well, this morning, I wanted to do something a little bit different. We've been talking a lot in this community about the wilderness experience and helping people define that and figure out a path forward. And we framed kind of this idea of the wilderness just based on everything that people have been through in 2020. But one of the things that I think was really core to this community was a collective commitment and just a reminder that we can't stay there. We can't stay in the wilderness, right? We need to be able to figure out a path forward. And for all of you wilderness enthusiasts out there, you'll know that wilderness and survivalist experts will tell you that you need to figure out what your mindset's going to be when you figure out that you're lost, when you figure out, what, I've never been here before, you got to figure out a path forward. And so many of us are ready to move to what's next, to figure out how to navigate that. And so in service of that, to kind of shift the theme a little bit, I wanted to spend this week, this Thanksgiving week, talking about gratitude. For me, gratitude is a refuge. It's a place for me to kind of pull away from all of the noise, all of the things going on, to just kind of gather my senses. Does anybody feel like that? Coach Kim, does that resonate with you at all?
It does. It does. And, Karen, as you were talking about that, I was reminded of a difficult time in my life where I felt just so desperate, just so, full of despair, which I know a lot of people have felt that way during this, during everything that's been going on in 2020. Mm-hmm. But I remember being there and, to the place where I really didn't even want to get out of bed in the morning. And, something within me said, literally, I remember laying in the bed, not wanting to get up, wanting to pull the covers up over my head and say, I can't do this anymore. And I had this voice in my head that said, okay, I want you to start saying out loud all the things that you have to be grateful for, all the things that you have to be thankful for. And that became a habit, Karen. Yeah. It was like, I literally laying there. I woke up this morning, my eyes are open, everything. So yes, it's like, being able to remember, to just take a step back and remember all the things that we have to be grateful for. Those are the things that literally at one time in my life got me out of bed in the morning. And now, it's like that has become a new habit for me to just to every day, every moment of every day, just stop. When you get those feelings of overwhelm, to say, okay, let's just start saying out loud all the things we have to be grateful for. And it's amazing how it shifts. Mm-hmm. It just creates a whole new attitude, a whole new energy. You talk a lot about the anabolic energy and the catabolic energy. It literally, we can do things to shift that within our own bodies. And it really is all around what happens with our mindset. It starts there.
Mm-hmm. I love that. One of the things that you said that really resonates with me, and I really want to unpack this a little bit, because I know that there are people in this community who are going through things, right? Some of you know that my father-in-law has been very ill, and we've got some other things going on. I've got some other things going on, and I don't talk a lot about my stuff because I'm too busy living life, right? I'm trying to figure it out, like most of you. As productive leaders, people are depending on us. We got things to do. We don't spend a lot of time putting our stuff out there, but what I know is that sometimes when it's challenging and when it's difficult, making a gratitude list can be really, really hard. Um, and so we've got somebody in the live stream this morning, Shay Houston. Hey Shay, what's going on, lady? Who knows exactly what I'm talking about, because it can be so hard when life feels like it's kind of dogpiling you, to feel grateful. And so for me, I think the thing that I really want to kind of drop in everybody's spirit this morning is that taking time to kind of anchor yourself in gratitude is not about ignoring the obvious.
That's right.
Right? It's not about making unicorns out
That's
of,
right.
a trash heap. It's not about that. It is literally a strategic move to thwart the enemy, right? Y'all know I'm a Jesus girl, and I'm talking all the time about the fact that God has a plan for our lives, right? If you have a pulse, you have a purpose, you have options, you have all of those things. And for me personally, I know not everybody ascribes to this, but for me personally, that kind of thinking is rooted in my faith that as long as I'm here, regardless of what my circumstances are, God has a plan for me. And therefore, He's going to equip me. He's going to give me a way out. He's going to open a door that only He can open and no man can close. I mean, I could go on. But here's the thing. When things are hard, and I know what hard feels like, I know what it is like to be in the wilderness, not just in the wilderness, but in the pit in the wilderness. I know what that's like. I know what that's like to experience personally chronic illness where you feel like nothing is ever going to change. I know what it's like to feel, there was a time in my life when I did not know where my next meal was coming from. I did not know if I was going to have a place to live the next day. Now, I know that may be a shock for some of y'all. Maybe that'll change your thinking of me. But let me just tell you, I know what that feels like. And Kim could go on and on about the things that she's been through. But here's the thing. Gratitude is a refuge.
Yes.
It is a place to kind of cover yourself. Psalm 91 says God will cover us with His wings. And for me, that has been so pivotal to being able to refresh myself, to repair my heart. This weekend was my birthday. Yesterday was my birthday.
Yay!
My birthday. Thank you. It was my birthday. And I was so excited. And I started the day with a bang. And then about mid-afternoon, I got a sucker punch. Because the enemy did not care that it was my birthday. Can I get an amen? The enemy will not care about the good things in your life. But here's what I know, and I've learned over and over and over again. When you are on the cusp of a breakthrough, the enemy will come for you. I saw this, it was a quote, it's not mine, but it was talking about the fact that the enemy makes you a target when you have purpose, right? If you don't have anything going on, if you aren't a threat, if you aren't actually walking in your purpose, the enemy's going to leave you alone because you are neutral. Nothing's going on there. But when you're trying to take ground, when you're trying to do something important and meaningful, when you're getting ready to have that conversation with somebody that's going to change their life, we've got a fierce layer in here. Her name is Christy Kent. Come on, Christy. She knows what I'm talking about.
Good morning, Christy.
Yeah, when you're getting ready to do something big, the enemy will come for you. And so gratitude is just a way to kind of step back and reinforce yourself, to heal, to get the things in your mind and your heart that will prepare you to be able to go out and do what you need to do. Coach Kim, what do you have to say about that?
Well, as you were talking about that, Karen, I was just thinking about, gratitude is where we can remember what we have overcome or what, and I have the same beliefs that you do, where, I think of all the times that I have been in that place of in the wilderness, deep in the pit, and all the times that God has brought me through. And so for me, gratitude is remembering those times and knowing, because I have because I have come through those things, knowing that he will bring me through this one. Right. So yeah, it's not, Pollyanna or rainbows and unicorns. It's we've been in this place, and maybe it hasn't looked like this, but it has, it's been tough, and he brought me through. And in those times, he taught me he will be there. And he is here now, right? And and you're right. I mean, it's when you're ready to do something great, that's when the enemy is going to come and try to strike you down. Because if you're not doing anything, why should he waste his time on you, right? But if you're trying to do great things, he's going to try to take you out. But
I had to mature into that, though.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. It's all these well, not little, but it's all these things that we've come through. I'll be 52. My perspective, and I'm going to celebrate that. But I'm a lot different than I was when I was 25, 35, 40, 45. And so, but I had to go through a lot of crap to get where I am. And I'm looking forward to when I'm 62 and I can look back and say, I thought, I knew some at 52, but man, I know even more at 62. So you're right, Karen. We have to mature into that. But see, I think that's what makes us effective as a coach or as an encourager, because we can take that. We know that not that we've experienced what others have experienced, but we have matured into how to come through it. And for me as a coach, if I can take what has happened in my life and use it to help someone else come to a different place in their life, I mean, what better role is there in the world?
And that's exactly why this community exists.
Yeah.
Because, true story, there was a time in my life when I didn't think life was worth living. There was a time in my life when depression surrounded me. It was a constant companion. And I knew at some point, I didn't always know it, because for many, many years, I have never shared this before, so I'm tripping, but I feel like maybe this is for somebody. Yeah, I feel like this is for somebody. I felt like depression was what I had to settle for. We are, as many of you know, we've just launched our digital course, Reclaim Your Why. And we're kind of in module 1 right now. And in the questionnaire, in one of the first power play sheets, we're asking the question of, what are you settling for? I settled for that depression would always be a part of my life. Now, for any of you that know me, joy is one of my core values. Your core values are the inner workings of how God has made you, okay? And they're developed through just your wiring, how God made you, your experiences, what you value and what you cherish, what energizes you, and that sort of a thing. So joy was one of my core values, but here I was in this particular section of my life, settling for depression. Now, hear me, depression is a serious thing, and I am a big believer, a huge believer in asking for help. I have a therapist. That is part of my self-care plan, okay? I believe in that. So this is not about poo-pooing depression. But what I had to make a decision about was that depression was something I was settling for. When you settle for something, that means you live beneath what God intended for you. That just filled my spirit. The struggle, right? The struggle, this and this and this, and always having to overcome something toxic. The struggle is not God's best. It was not God's best for me. And if you're watching this, it's not God's best for you.
That's
right. One of the reasons I created this community was because I did not want people to have to struggle like I did, because I did not have this great, tribe of peeps all around me all the time, right? I as I came through high school and elementary school and whatnot, I was the weirdo. So I didn't have like an entourage of people. I had to figure things out on my own. And guess what? That carried into college, and it carried into adulthood. And what's really interesting is that God has used that season to be able to equip and inspire and encourage other people. Hashtag this community, hashtag rock your vision. So, Kim, when you talk about using what you have been through to equip other people, talk to us for a second about, for those people who maybe are going through some things right now, and how what they're going through. You've heard that saying, your test is your testimony.
Mm.
Like, can you talk to us about how you came to that, recognizing that you could take all the things that you've been through to inspire and encourage other people?
Well, Karen, I mean, as someone who is a Christ follower, and I try to read God's word as much as I can. He actually gives us that promise in 1 Corinthians. He actually says, if you'll read the first chapter, he says in that he will take what we have been through, and he will comfort us through that, so that we will be able to comfort others in those same. So there are the things that you have been through in your life are different than the things that I have been through in my life.
That's right.
So he has equipped you to reach folks that I won't be able to, right? Because they will be able to resonate with your story. But he has equipped me to help people that you will not be able to help, because they will resonate to my story. That's how he works. Every human being on this earth is interconnected. We are all one. And it has been designed for us to help each other through. And so, we can have compassion for each other. We can care for each other. And so when we talk about, there is no judgment in Rock Your Vision, because there is no judgment here. There's someone who has been through exactly what you are going through. Maybe not exactly, but they can resonate with you. So, but all of those things that we're ashamed to open up about, like you said, this is the first time you've talked about it. And that's a scary thing to do, because you're concerned about how are other people going to take this? But the beauty of it is, we're going to take it and we're going to say, you know what, if it weren't for everything that I have gone through in my life, I would not be here. So I am thankful. I'm thankful that there were times when I thought I wasn't going to make it. Did I feel that way at the time? Absolutely not. But I can look back now and see how it was all working together to get me to a place. Karen, you and I have talked about this before, but my favorite word in the English language is hope. But if I had not gone through and continue to go through the things that God has brought me through, I wouldn't even know what hope is. I wouldn't even know why it was necessary. Right? I mean, until we actually have experienced the place where we need hope, and hope has brought us through, we don't even understand the meaning of the word. So there's for you, it's going to be a different joy. You wouldn't understand the beauty of joy, right? Without having experienced the deep, dark place of depression, right?
Yes. And you said something earlier, I heard about the word. You shared in the pre-show. We always get on ahead of time and just kind of pump ourselves up. But Kim shared a scripture that was really, really, it was so beautiful. And I'm going to let her share it. But I knew the word joy. And I knew practically what it was. but in the times in my life when I came up out of the pit, when I came up out of the darkness, when I came up out of that hiding place where I had lived for so many years, and I was good at it, y'all. I mean, my dad was a military officer, a pastor, and a professor. You know, and for all the PKs out there, y'all know we're good at wearing masks. All
Right.
right.
You
If
had
you're in,
gotten good at faking joy.
like I had a PhD in faking it. I could, put on the best outfit and the best smile and get up there and praise God and do all that kind of thing. But inside, I was falling apart. And for so many in this community, y'all know what that's like. You have to keep it together because you've got people depending on you. You've got a presentation to make or a contract to close or whatever. You've got team members that are expecting you to have all the answers. But it wasn't until I came up out of that darkness that joy began to, like, the concept of what joy was brightened. Like
Yeah.
it went into 5D. Okay.
Yeah. So it went from your head, from head
Yes.
knowledge to heart knowledge, right? Yeah. You knew what it was, but now you know what it is, right?
Now I know.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I also know what it feels like when I'm going back into that pit experience,
That's
right?
right.
True story. For all of y'all that are walking around feeling shamed or like you're hiding because you think you have to have it all together, every leader I know, I work with some of the best leaders in the world, and they have to revisit and re-energize their understanding, their practical, real life, in the moment understanding of what it means to recalibrate your senses, to get in that refuge place of gratitude. Hold on a second. I'm way off track. I got stuck in the weeds. I got stuck in this and I got stuck in that. The past several weeks, I got reminded of what it feels like to be in the wilderness in my own identity, in who I know God made me to be. There was a time in my life when I tried to be like everybody else. I was busy climbing things and doing things and trying to please this person and that person and wearing this mask and that mask because I could. And we're conditioned to be that way. But you know what? I had to step back. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to step back this past week and this past weekend because for a minute the enemy tried to come for me. He tried to come for me and tried to whisper to me the things that I had heard when I was a kid, the things that I had heard when I had no money, the things that I had heard when I had no network and no live stream show. I had to go back and say, God, I thank you for making me the way you made me. I thank you for making me just a little bit cray. I thank you for making me somebody who loves bright colors and rhinestones. I thank you for making me an inspirator. I am not an academic. Now, I got my degree and I'm about to get another one, but I am not that person who is over here. But what happens when we hide, Kim, in trying to pursue, because I think the opposite of gratitude is greed. I think the opposite of gratitude is greed. I think the opposite of gratitude is going after what somebody else has. I'm just going to leave that right there. Kim, I need you to talk about that because, I'm going to need help.
That's, or, greed and envy, right? I mean, it's, we become envious of what other people have, but I mean, what I have is unique from what everyone else brings to the world. What you have is unique to what everyone else brings to the world. And so, when you were talking about, coming out of that and really understanding, going from head knowledge to heart knowledge about joy, I thought of Viktor Frankl. He's one of the Holocaust survivors, and there's a quote that we accredit to him that I absolutely love, and it says, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. Right. So you have now gotten to that place where you understand what joy truly, truly is. And so when you feel yourself descending back into that place, you have created a new habit around stopping, just like Victor talked about, stopping between stimulus and your response. You get to choose how you're going to respond to that. Am I going to continue down that path and spiral into despair, or am I going to stop and
Yeah.
remember what God has brought me through? Am I going to remember that joy? And for me, it's, am I going to remember
Come
that
on.
hope? Right? Am I going to remember? And
Mhm.
am I going to, now that I'm remembering, I get to choose. It's my choice. It's
Mhm.
my choice how I go.
Come on.
Right? But we have to create a new, just like we were talking at the very beginning, it's creating a new mindset. It's, I'm not going to go back there. And I
Mm.
don't have to go back
Come
there.
on, Kim. That is
Right?
so good. Listen, when my mom was ill, I'm gonna tell y'all the pivot that I made. And it wasn't because I'm all that smart, because I'm not. But with God's help, um, uh, when mom was at her sickest, they were releasing her from the hospital. That did not make any sense to me. I
Yeah.
was I was running an HR department in not one country, but 4 countries. I was trying to raise 3 kids, all of which were, relatively young. I had a toddler. So everybody was pulling from me. And then here they are, the hospital is saying, "Oh, we're about to release your mom. No notice,
Mm.
no plan, no nothing." And when I tell you, I am so stressed and so overwhelmed. Have any of y'all ever been there? Like, for those of you that are in the live stream community, have you ever experienced compound injury? That's what I call it, where life just kind of goes boom, 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 one
Mm.
thing after another thing after another thing, where you really don't have a chance to catch your breath. That was me. And in that moment, I was so angry with God. I was just kind of silent. Have y'all ever like gritted your teeth at God? Right? Like I'm for the most part, like I don't actually like, I know there's some people who curse God. I'm not that bold. But in the moment, I was really gritting my teeth at God. I had some things to say to God. Um, but as I looked around, knowing that I was going to have to move my mom in with me, right? Which was not what I wanted to do. I knew it wasn't what she wanted,
Yeah.
but we had to do it. We were at a place of desperation. Have y'all ever been at a place of desperation? Again, I'm telling my business this morning, but whatever. Anyway, here we go. I was at a place of desperation. And as I looked and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't have what we need. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have this." I was not in a place of gratitude. I was in a place of looking at things from what I did not have. And in one of the most desperate prayers I think I've ever prayed, crying, just full on angry with God, hurt for my mother, worried about my job, worried about my kids and how I was going to do all like that. There was something that shifted in me. As for me, the Holy Spirit fell on me and said, "Karen, you're looking at life from what you don't have. Tell me what you do have. For just
Yes.
a moment, put it on pause and tell me what you do have." And I had tear-stained pages in my journal. I have a house. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my refrigerator. I am not in the hospital. I know people who have like multiple family members in the hospital. I am
Yeah.
not. Like, I literally just the smallest things, y'all. And here's what began to happen in that refuge of gratitude. I began to see my options. I,
Yes.
I in our home, although it was very small and we were kind of all on top of each other, I realized that I had a room, although it was in use, I could repurpose it. I took all of that energy that I was using to be mad at God and to make a list of all the things I didn't have. And I ripped that room apart. I put things in boxes. I put up shades in there. I put down a beautiful fur rug. I cleaned that room top to bottom. I put up some beautiful scripture posters. I did all kinds of things. I went to the dollar store and got mom some little toiletry items and things like that. When we rolled her hospital bed, no reason to be grateful for that. But we took what we had in the moment of that
Yes.
dark place and we repurposed it. I took, and again, this wasn't me, y'all. This was the Holy Spirit in me, challenging me to reframe what I was looking at. Kim, how have you used gratitude to pull yourself up out of that? Like make it practical for us.
And okay, I'm going to share things that, like you, that I don't normally share, but, I went through a divorce several years ago, and found myself really with absolutely nothing. I felt despair. I was in debt, not only up to my eyeballs, but past my eyeballs, and wondering where, I had my son Eli, wondering where our next meal was going to come, all those things. And I can remember sitting in my car and having panic attacks. I would literally have panic attacks. And it was during that time that, it was that I didn't want to get out of bed in the morning because I really wasn't sure what was going to happen from that point forward. And started started saying out loud, because I was so stuck that I didn't even want to write it down. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to shout it out. All the things that I was grateful for, and I did that for several days. And I remember it was on New Year's Eve one year, just feeling, I don't know that I've ever experienced a pit as deep as I was in at that moment. And there was something in me that said, if you have to change everything, we're going to change it today. And it's going to be different tomorrow. And that has been my attitude from that day forward. We're going to change whatever we have to change for tomorrow to be different than today, and I was about to say for me to be better, but it's not about me being better. It's about what am I supposed to be in this life? We get so caught up in what we see around us with our physical eyes, but y'all, what's real is not what we see. And it's just like what Karen was saying. We have choices, we have options. Yeah. So we get caught up in all this stuff that we can see. And Karen brought this up earlier, but I've felt like for this past week that I was supposed to reread the book of Job in the Bible, and and really, I think we've made that into sort of a cliche. Oh, remember, you have the patience of Job, or try to have the patience of Job, or remember Job. And so I really didn't want to read it because I was like, yeah. But y'all, I read it. I finally gave in and read it. And so I was sharing with Karen this morning, the enemy actually came to God and said, the enemy, listen to this, the enemy came to God and said, I'm going to show you that your servant Job really doesn't love you as you say he does, because you pamper him. I mean, that's really what he was coming to. You pamper him. And so God said, okay, you can try him, but don't hurt him. Don't harm him. So everything that Job went through, it wasn't that God caused it, but God allowed it. God allowed it because he knew what the outcome would be on the other side. And, if you read the book of Job, all through it, Job's friends are telling him, well, you must not be doing something right, because this would not be happening. You must not be the follower that you say you are, or this would never happen to you. And Job was even starting to say, I don't get it. And he says, he even goes on to say, I miss the days when God took care of me. I mean, this is, shortening it. But I mean, this whole thing was, now, maybe I haven't done it maybe I have done something wrong. Maybe, all this. Job starts questioning. But at the end of all of this,
Come on.
God comes to Job and he says, who do you think put the stars in the sky? Who do you think fills the clouds full of water? Look around you. Do you know why? Who taught the deer how to care for her babies? Who taught the lioness how to search for her prey? I mean, he goes through on and on and on and on. And did you give the horse its beautiful mane? I mean, he goes through all this stuff and he says, do you not think that I can take care of you? And Job literally says, I'm going to shut up and listen. He literally says that, y'all. And this is my favorite part. And this is what I was sharing with Karen this morning. What Job says at the end of this whole thing is, I admit I once lived by rumors of you. And then he says, I'll never again live on crust of hearsay or crumbs of rumors, because I thought I knew you, but now I know you. Firsthand, I know you. I had heard about you. So it's like Karen's joy. She knew what joy was, but now that she's come through that wilderness, that y'all, God's on the other side. Once she went through that wilderness, she went from joy to joy to joy. Same with Job. I thought I knew you, but now I know you, right? So we have to remember, well, that wilderness, there is purpose in that wilderness. We can't grow without it. We can't grow without it. It's not that God causes it, but he wants us to know he's allowed it so that we can come out on the other side. I can come out on the other side knowing what hope really means. And I can share that hope with the world. He has now put me in a place where I can be, he also asked me to step out after years of being alone as a single mom, having nothing. He brought me out of that to a place where I was successful, had literally moved into my absolute dream home that I never thought I would ever have as a single woman. And then he says to me, okay, now I want you to go out on your own as a coach. I want you to leave this corporate job that you have. I want you to give up all of that. And I looked at, and I'm not even equipped to do that. But what I did, because he had brought me through so many other things, I started getting equipped for it, because I knew that even though on the outside to my physical eyes, it looked like I couldn't do it, I knew he would make it happen.
Come on.
So I started taking those steps, right? And the reason is because of all that garbage I went through in my life that brought me to a place of hope, knowing that he would make it happen. Right?
Okay. I have so many things that I need you to repeat, but
I got off on a tangent. Sorry.
You did it. You were exactly where you needed to be, because gratitude will move you into strength.
Yes.
It will move you into strength. Gratitude is a refuge. It gives you an opportunity to see what you actually have in front of you. Gratitude helps you discover your options.
Yes.
When you think you have nothing, and then you realize you have something, gratitude is your opportunity to anchor yourself.
Yes.
Come on, that is so good.
Yes.
And you know what happens? Gratitude shifts that catabolic, toxic, draining, harmful energy. It shifts it into anabolic, life-giving, peace-centered, hope-filled energy.
Yes.
Where now you're beginning to build some muscle. And when you come up out of that pit, I realized that, I talked about the fact that coming up out of that pit, it acts like a lens, right? It gets you focused on what you really want, what you really need,
Yes.
what your potential is. And here's the thing, coming up out of that pit, now that I know how precious my value of joy is to me and how essential it is for me to just breathe, I fight a lot harder when something is coming for my joy. And
Yes.
my hope and my prayer is that in this community, as we encourage each other, for those that are in the Reclaim Tribe, part of what we're doing is reminding each other. Coach Phillip, if y'all don't know Coach Phillip Williams, y'all really need to be following him. He's doing some amazing things. He's on LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere. But he spoke something to one of our community members that I think really just helped her like build a muscle. You know what I mean? And that's what we do for each other. So when you're in gratitude, y'all, when you make an intentional effort to look at what you do have, not at what you don't have. Again, gratitude doesn't remove the obvious. It just helps you get clear about what you do have, what your options actually are, right? This weekend, as I heard some things, it wasn't that I didn't need to hear them. It was just that I recognized in the moment that not everybody is concerned about the timing for me. Who cares? It's your birthday, or whatever. I recognized I had to build a muscle. And in that moment when I was feeling wounded and defeated and hurt and all of that kind of thing, I realized, hold on a second, I've been here before. I have a choice. You said it, Coach Kim. I said, I have a
Yes.
choice. I can go back to being wounded and woe is me, let me get out my violin. Or I can pick up the weight. Come on. I can pick up
That's
the weight.
right.
I know y'all watching this know what I'm talking about. I can
That's
pick up
right.
the weight and build a muscle. So here's my question for you. What's it going to take for you to build the muscles that you need to do the things you need to do in life? What's it going to take for you to finally pick that thing up? Let me figure out something to pick up. Here's the weight.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to be able to move from being wounded, defeated, overwhelmed, fearful, because in the wilderness, and we said this this past Saturday in our live office hours, which all of the Reclaim Tribe, the digital course students get. We said that this weekend, that mindset trumps intention every time, right? Gratitude is an exercise in mindset. You see the celebrities and the sports guys, they're coming into the auditorium or whatever they call that, a stadium, with their headphones on. What, have you ever wondered why they do that? I've been like, you know what? He's too pretty for his own good. He needs to take those headphones off and talk to people. No, there's a reason he's doing that. He's getting his mind right.
That's
Folks,
right.
the old folks used to say, I need to get my mind right. I never knew what that meant. And then I went through some things and I'm like, I need to get the noise out of my head. Right? I gotta say some different things, Kim. Does that resonate with you at all?
It does. And, Karen, as you were talking about, picking up those weights and building those muscles, one of the beautiful things about the Rock Your Vision community is if you don't know how to pick it up, if you don't know how to do that, then we're all here to help. And, we just got to be real with each other and say, I don't know how to do that. Well, here, we're all here. Let's show each other how to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it really does come down to mindset, and it really does come down to making that choice of we have choices, and you talk about it all the time. You have more options than you realize. And if you're having a difficult time figuring out your options, then the Rock Your Vision community is a great place to come to be able to figure that out and work with others to figure that out, to help you see your options.
Yeah. You know what? You could not have said it better, that I did not always know how to encourage myself. We did a workshop a couple of years ago called How to Encourage Yourself. Because one of the things that I discovered in my own walk was that sometimes when you think, the people that you think are going to encourage you, the places that you think are going to be there for you, the resources that you think are going to be available to you, sometimes aren't there. And sometimes, beloved, you have to encourage yourself, right? You have to build that muscle, not from a place of victimhood, not from a place of, kind of denial, but from a place of challenging yourself to build a muscle. That is what maturity and maturing is all about. I got tired of being the old wounded, well, I guess I'll just do it by myself. I guess nobody loves me. Oh, well. Beloved, that does not come from a place of strength. And I'm going to tell you something. You cannot go into the places that God is calling you with a wounded spirit. You cannot do the work that God is calling you to do being hurt and devastated by every negative word that is spoken to you, around you, or over you. You cannot walk in that place. And so gratitude is a way to build that muscle of maturity that will shift you into a place of strength, emotional strength, spiritual strength. Come on, y'all. This is good. I need somebody to give me a hand clap in the comments because somebody needed to hear this. You're asking for God to give you more, and you're wondering why. Well, why can't I go into these places with the same stuff? Because the new places that God wants to take you is going to require something different. God is calling me to something different in this season of my life. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's scary. And every scary place, Kim and I were talking about this in the pre-show, every scary place in my head and in my heart, every scary place, every vulnerable place, every message that I've ever heard that tried to kind of chip away at my self-esteem, at my worth, at all of the growth that God has done in my heart and in my life, the enemy has come for in the past 4 weeks. I'm just going to tell you that. This is what I meant by the fact that when you're getting ready to go through a breakthrough, when you're getting ready to make a shift into something different, the enemy will try to come for you and whisper, well, you're always going to be alone, right? That's for you. You don't have any options. Options are for other people. Peace.
It's a big lie.
It's a big lie.
Yeah, it's the big lie.
He's really good at it. But Kim, talk just for a minute about how you and I were talking about this a little bit before. The enemy knows what to whisper in your ear. He does not know your future. He does not know the details of your future. He just knows that you have a future. And all he's got to work with is what's happening right now. So if you're stepping out on faith right now, if you're trying to do something big, if you're trying to go for a new contract, if you're trying to learn a new skill, whatever that is, the enemy does not know the details of your future. Only God knows that. I'm trying to help somebody today.
Yeah.
He does not know that. So he's going to look at what you're doing now, and he's going to come for what you're doing right now. So Coach Kim, how do you in the moment, right, when you're hearing that, when you're in that low place, right, when you feel most vulnerable, talk to us for a second about how you pull yourself, like, what do you say to yourself? How do you anchor yourself in the truth?
I start retracing my steps of victory. Right?
Ooh, Coach Lawrence, can you pop that in the comments, please? Say it again.
So I start to retrace my steps of victory. So I start, when the enemy starts in on me and tells me, you're not good enough for this, because one of the lies that the enemy has told me all of my life. I mean, there are things that people say to you. I mean, even as a child, or I mean, there are things that stick with you, and there are those voices in your head that like Karen is talking about, that reminds you, oh, you don't deserve that, or the options are for everyone else. Well, one of the lies that he told me is, if people really know who you are, they're not going to like you. And it was because of things that had happened in my past. But that's something that I had to overcome as an adult. But there are times when I will hear that in my voice, in my, that little gremlin is what we call them in coaching, in my head. And what I've learned to do is I just stop. And again, Viktor Frankl, I think of his quote all the time: between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space, I have a choice. And what I have chosen to do, and it comes as you build those muscles, it's like, no, I'm going to retrace my steps of victory. What are the things that have brought me through these times in the past? What are the things that I have learned? And I'm going to retrace those steps, because I know that you're right, Karen. The enemy doesn't know my future, but I do know who does know my future. So I'm going to retrace those steps of victory. And, it's scary. Like I said, I was going along, successful, had everything that I felt like I needed. And I was comfortable in that space of just me and God being together. And then he says, okay, now, it's kind of like being on that. And you've probably seen this quote too, it's being on the edge of that cliff. And it's like, okay, faith is knowing that if I step out, there's going to be something there for me to stand on, or I'm going to be given wings to fly. And that's when I talk about retracing my steps of victory. That's what I'm talking about. It's being on that edge and knowing that for 52 years,
come on,
he's brought me through. He's taught me skills, strategies to be able to retrace my steps of victory. And so now I know that when I step out, there's either going to be something solid to stand on, because now I believe in not just the things that I can see with my physical eyes, because I know that my brain can trick me into believing something is real when it is not, right? So I'm going to step out, and there will either be something there solid to stand on, or I'm going to be given wings to fly, but I know it's going to happen. So, and that's not Pollyanna. That's not unicorns and rainbows. That is having taken don't forget the things that you have been able to be victorious over. That's the other thing. The past is the past, but don't forget the victories. Don't forget what you've been brought through. And like Karen says, the muscles that you have built. Go back. It's like I do fitness training also. And Karen, as you were talking, I was thinking about, when you've been out of the gym for a while, you go back and you start doing the things that because you have muscle memory. So you start going back and doing the things that have worked for you in the past. You just start all over. Does it hurt? Yes, it hurts. Is it painful? Does it make you sore? Yes, it does. But as you keep working it and working it and working it, you get stronger and stronger and stronger.
And you see results. You see
the results. They don't happen overnight.
Yeah, come on.
Sometimes they do, but most times no.
So let's talk for a second about this idea of giving up, of becoming defeated and winded. I have so much to say on this, but I want to just pop into the comments for just a minute. We've got so much good stuff going on in here. And I want to go back to something that Coach Philip Williams said, because I think it's really important. It has to do with attitude. I did a video. I think it was in the course community in Reclaim Your Why. But Coach Philip Williams said, I've had respectful and confident conversations with God. He wants us to talk with him with the condition of being respectful of who he is. He will hear us. And I absolutely love that. And he was saying that in response to the times when I felt like I was so angry with God. And let me just be clear. God is a patient God. He has put up with a whole lot of nonsense. And the word is full of stories of people who have tested God, not in a good way, but who like lost their mind for a minute. But Coach Philip Williams is bringing us back to something that's really important. One of the things that I think is essential for us to build muscle and maturity as leaders is checking our attitude at the door, right? Because being in a dark place will put you in a very bad space if you let it, right? You can become overcome with all of the details and all of the things that are happening. I am guilty of that. I am so glad that God is patient and faithful. And he wants to know that I'm going to walk with him. And listen to me, you cannot walk in light and darkness at the same time. You got to make some choices. You have to make some choices. And making choices takes discipline, right? In order to have discipline, you got to check your attitude. You got to check your attitude because discipline is going to test you. But like Coach Kim was saying, discipline produces results, y'all. I want you to think about in your own, for all of you that are joining us right now, and if you're joining us on the replay, then just put in #replay. Or if you're in the YouTube community, go ahead and pop in the comments, because part of what we have to do in reframing our mindset is we have to check our attitude. We have to look at the places and spaces where maybe we've withheld, maybe we haven't been quick to forgive because we're so busy holding on to our own stuff. You don't have to stay stuck, right? But it requires a decision. So all of us have an opportunity to check our attitude at the door. This weekend, I had to check my attitude at the door. I was like, I'm not going to church. I've got other things to do. I'm not even interested in da 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 da. And the Holy Spirit came for me, and He's like, I'm gonna need you to get dressed, and I'm gonna need you to head to church. And listen to me. I went to church this yesterday, and Pastor Ashley Evans, Global Senior Pastor of Influencers Atlanta, wrecked the message. I mean, he preached the paint off the walls. I think that's probably the second best sermon I have ever heard him preach. He absolutely tore down strongholds. I mean, for those of you who are not faith people, I get it. I understand. I love all y'all, but I just need to tell you that had I stayed stuck in my attitude, had I stayed stuck in my emotions, I would have missed my blessing, because I walked out of there with some new perspectives, with some new ideas, with a refreshed, like that's moving from gratitude to strength, right? Now I've got my mojo back. And when the enemy tries to come for me again, Kim and I were talking about this in pre-show, I've got a different perspective about what it's going to look like. I recognize that I cannot put my faith and my trust and my hopes and dreams in places it wasn't meant to be. Some of us are putting our stuff in people and things and jobs. Come on, y'all. Hello, 2020. The things that we thought we could trust in are not solid foundations. You have to build your strength. We call it resilience, call it whatever you want. You have to put it in perspective, but you've got to start with your own attitude. Gratitude is a form of attitude. I rhymed right there. I'm not preaching but good. It's a way to anchor yourself, to move into that place where, okay, hold on a second. I thought I didn't have anything. I thought I didn't have a network. I thought I didn't know how to build a business. I thought I didn't have any friends. I thought I needed all of these other things to be able to move from gratitude to strength. Y'all, I'm telling you, when you begin to mature as a leader, as a parent, as a business owner, you recognize that you're going to have to check your attitude. I could go on, but I'm telling you, we're already like 60 minutes into it. I'm not even really sure how we got there. But I want to pop into the comments one more time, because there's so much good stuff in here. Let's see. Zach Nutson had he was dropping some goodness in here. He said something.
Who also celebrated a birthday yesterday.
He did.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Zach.
birthday, Zach! What's going on? And I think there were a couple other people. I've got some other. I'm probably a quadruplet or something. I don't know. Zach said, because I said I was going to quote him. Hold on, I'm going to find it. Oh, here he says, when sorrows come, they come not as single spies, but as battalions. Y'all,
Right.
how many of you know that's true? That's just good. So you have to know that when you're going for something, when you're trying to really do something, it's not just going to be, we say it all the time in this community, unicorns and rainbows. I love that. Let's see who else is in here. We have Carmel Henderson. Come on in here, lady. I'm so glad to see you in here. Y'all welcome Miss Carmel. Yes. We got to have her in here. I'm just saying. I'm gonna need some folks to call her people. Anyway, let's see what else. Coach Lawrence Henderson says, remember not to feed the gremlin. Y'all know we all have gremlins, those things that whisper to us, right? Those mindsets that keep us stuck in our old story. We're going to do another show about that. He says, you better hashtag retrace your steps of victory. Okay, we're going to go out on this. I want everybody in the live stream, and if you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay, I want you to pop into the comments and drop one of your victories. I want you to go back in your head or your heart and just pop in here something where you look back and you say, you know what, God brought me through that. I made it through that. I did something that I didn't think I could do. I need everybody just to pop in here real quickly. Come on. I need you to just anchor yourself in the truth that you've been through some things. You've made it out. You've accomplished some things. You've had some victories in your life. Coach Kim, what's one of your victories?
Oh my gosh, Karen, I have so many. I really do have so many. But I think, I shared about having panic attacks. I mean, they were so bad that I had to stop on the side of the road and call someone to come and get me, types of anxiety attacks. And just the victory of realizing that I didn't have to stay there. I didn't have to be there, that I did have choices. So it's that split second, that moment when you realize that I have choices. And it's, you quoted Zach when he's talking about sorrows. The only reason Zach knows that is because I'm sure that Zach could tell us that he's experienced that, but he's come through it, right? And now he knows it and he's come through it. So for me, when I think about retracing my victories, I think of all the times that I felt like things were hopeless. Mm-hmm. And I think of all the ways that I have come through, and with, unexpectedly, or it just looked like there was no way out or no way through. And there was one. And why? Because I just kept moving forward. And in those moments when I was, I just kept moving forward. And then I got to the place, I used to worry about everything. And I realized about 5 years ago, I don't worry about anything. Mm-hmm. I don't worry about anything. I know that we've gone through what we've gone through in 2020 with the pandemic, and I'm not worried. And mm-hmm. I don't mean to say that all of it. No, I get it. I know what we're living in, but I don't worry. And so to me, that is a victory to go from where I was stricken with so much panic, so much worry that I was literally left frozen to mm-hmm. a place where I can look back and say, I don't worry about anything. Mm-hmm. I don't worry. And mm-hmm. I know that any wilderness experience that I'm going through, mm-hmm. The reason I'm in my wilderness is he wants to show me a path.
Come on.
Right. And I know it. So that's my victory. That's probably my biggest victory, is just going from that place of so much overwhelm and panic to a place of peace and hope.
Coach Kim, as I listen to you talk and imagining what that must have been like for you to experience panic attacks to the point you had to have somebody come get you. One of the things that I've overcome is debilitating anxiety. and there are several people in this community who have experienced something similar. I think it's one of the best kept secrets of the world is how many people experience anxiety. We don't talk about it a lot because it's not like hashtag worthy, and it's not super sexy, and it doesn't have a filter on it. Anxiety is raw and rough. Panic attacks are raw and rough. Coach Philip Williams dropped in the comments, one of the things that has been a victory for him is he survived Stephen Johnson syndrome. And for those of you who do not know what Stephen Johnson syndrome is, it will absolutely kill you. Coach Philip Williams is a walking miracle. He has overcome the impossible. And if you didn't catch his interview in Monday Morning Jumpstart, I want you to go back and watch that interview. In fact, I may go in and pop that link in the comments so y'all can go back and just understand what he went through. So many of us have come through things, and remembering what your victories are is one of the best power plays you will ever find. Gratitude is the place where you remember what your victories have been, whether they're small or they're big. God will use every one of them to help you move from gratitude to strength. You do not have to stay stuck in fear, overwhelm, sadness or depression.
That's right.
And again, this is not about poo-pooing it. We all need help. But listen to me, as we celebrate this week, and maybe you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and that's okay. Join us in just getting your mind right, okay? You don't have to celebrate Thanksgiving, the holiday, but just join us as a community as we step into really taking a moment to get to just walk into a place of refuge. We have all been through it this year, y'all. I mean, one thing after another thing, after another thing, after another thing. We are getting ready to walk into a new year. And we're going to have to walk into a new year with a new perspective. We cannot do things like we used to do them and expect to have different results. The whole concept of the wilderness experience is about equipping ourselves to understand and to get really clear about what the wilderness looks like so that we have some strategies and some tools to be able to walk into the new year so that when the wilderness comes back, because anytime you're trying to do something, listen to me, anytime you're trying to do something that's worth doing, Kim says this all the time, it's going to cost you something. Kim, what is it you say to me all the time?
Yeah, well, anything worth having. I mean, gosh, now I can't even think about it, Karen. But yeah, it's anything worth having. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to come easy.
It's going to cost you.
Nothing good comes easy. That's what I said.
That's it. Nothing good comes easy. And so it's like, well, I want good things. And so the response is, well, buckle up, beloved, because it's going to cost us something. This community exists because we know that messy middle between where you are now and where it is you want to be is going to cost you something. We're going to be here to walk through it with you. And this week, as we celebrate Thanksgiving, and really just begin to kind of catch our breath a little bit as we figure out the rest of the year and then move into 2021, I want you to know we're going to be right here helping you get focused, connect to your purpose, and develop perspective. The morning has gone way too fast. Coach Kim,
ain't that the truth?
Yes, I know. Like, wait a minute, we just got started.
I know, we just started.
I want to thank you for being a light in the world and really for just showing up in this community in such a big way. I know Kim is one of the people that I call when I'm falling apart at the seams. That's just a little secret. We're not going to talk about it. But anyway, when I'm falling apart at the seams, she's one of the people that I call. And now you can see why. I wanted you to hear a little bit of her story. So thank you for that, Coach Kim, for sharing and just showing up in this community.
Oh, Karen, thank you. I enjoy Monday Morning Jumpstart every week, and I appreciate today. And just, all of us just taking a moment, like you said, let's just think about all the things that we have to be grateful for and how we can use that to care for others. And we do that every day in the Rock Your Vision community. And I appreciate you and putting this together and bringing us all together. Because we all are interconnected. And so I'm so thankful that you are using the blessings that you have come through, or, the difficult times that you've come through, and the blessings that you have been blessed with to bless others. And so thank you. We all love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much. How can we reach you? Where do you exist in the world, in the interwebs?
Yeah, well, I would love to connect with all of you. You can find me on social media. Of course, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn, and it's Coach Kim Dudash on social media, or you can find me Kimberly Dudash on LinkedIn. And then you can also visit my website. It's dudashexecutivecoaching.com. And also, one of the things that Karen we've talked about this before. One of the ways that I was able to pivot this year was my husband Brian and I are building even more. We had our Dudash Farms business, but we're building that even more. That's something that the Lord has shown us that we can actually that's another way we can fulfill our why. So dudashfarms.com. We'd love to connect with you there on the farm. We sell grass-fed beef and pastured pork, and so we'd love for you to connect with us there too.
Well, we have had an amazing morning. I hope that you guys have walked away with some strategies and some mindsets to really lean into gratitude in this season. For me, gratitude is a refuge as I just kind of try to heal my heart from all the things that have gone on, as I try to kind of refresh and reflect to build some resilience for the things that our family is going through right now. And one of the ways that I do that is in this community. So for all of you that lean in every single week, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful for all the birthday messages. My twin, Zach, and I say thank you for just loving on us and reaching out. I needed every single word yesterday, so thank you for that. We're going to be popping in here throughout the rest of this week, sharing some good news and some fun news. So stay tuned. And in the meantime, I hope that you remember you've got options. All right. We'll talk to you next week and sometimes in between. So everybody have a great morning. Coach Kim, stay on for just 1 second. All right, everybody. You remember, we love you. Mwah! Happy Thanksgiving.